know us best probably from some of our live events, but we're also out there every day on obviously social media. We're also connecting with people weekly with the newsletter. Industrial Immersive comes out every Thursday morning, and it's pretty witty. I like the way our editors write that. And then we do live events, of course, and digital events. Okay, people ask, I know everybody tells you this, every event you go to, the app, SWOGO is the app that we have, it's under Industrial Immersive. The instructions are pretty simple, they're upstairs also at the reg counter. It is a great way to see the agenda, what's going on, as well as to keep up with who's here. So as far as the attendees are in there, as well as our sponsors. Speaking of sponsors, we are very happy to have them with us because they're showcasing some of the newest tech and services that are available for the industry. And honestly, it would be very hard to put on an event and not have sponsors here to help showcase how to move your programs forward. We also want to say a big shout out to our industry partners. There's a lot of people that make up an ecosystem, and it's important for us to work with people. And we certainly at Industrial Immersive have the big tent theory. The more of us that come together to help move forward the XR, digital twin reality capture programs, the better. So we're excited to work with these folks, and they have a lot of great programs that they're running as well. Stay tuned for 2026, as always. This is our 7th year, so next year will be our 8th, and we'll be excited to bring the community back together again. Also, for those of you who are interested with drones and robots, we get together in June up in the Woodlands, and we bring a couple thousand folks together, and it's a lot of fun for people who are in that part of the industry.
Yeah.
All right, that made it pretty simple. I think I kept it within my 5 minutes. Yes, I did, just barely. So I am going to immediately bring up your keynote speaker, which is a much better speaker than myself. You're really going to enjoy hearing from him. If I could, I'm going to bring up Ori Inbar with AWE to kick us off this morning. Ori.
Thank you, Sean. Howdy, partners. How's it going? You know, it's so awesome to be here at Industrial Immersive at the wonderful city of Houston, which is, of course, known for space exploration. So if you put up our slide up, can you have our slide up? Here you go. So this is, of course, astronaut Andreas Mogensen exercising on the ISS with VR, where he can actually enjoy landscapes from his hometown. So he basically sends a strong message to us all here. Hey, Houston, we have a solution. It's VR. It's keeping our bodies strong and our spirits high up here in space. So that's pretty cool. I also have an important message for you today. Since 2010, when I first co-founded AWE, the first XR industry event to help advance AR and VR with the mission to bring it to everyone on Earth, I've been championing this idea that XR will shape the future. But today I have a very different message for you. XR is not the future. It's the present. You know, in my 2 decades in XR, I've never dared to say this. But this year, when I look at the state of XR, the energy, the innovation, and the progress, I feel confident and I can finally say it. I have 4 words for you. Ready for it? XR is going mainstream. I know some of you seasoned professionals in the industry are thinking right now, wait, what? What are you talking about? We've been in this industry for a long time. We're some of the most experienced people, and we're still struggling to grow our businesses. Is that what mainstream looks like? Well, first let me say I hear you, my friends. XR is hard. And before I say anything else, let me first express my big thank you to all of you who have helped advance XR to where it is today. So give yourself a big round of applause. Yes, you deserve it. You're very special. Because yes, XR is hard. And it was literally the theme of my opening keynote in 2023. And it's been hard for 50 years, since its very beginning in 1968. When Ivan Sutherland showed his, well, the video's not running. Well, you might have seen this before. I'll try again. It's okay. Okay, here you go. Thank you. So when Ivan Sutherland first showed the demo of a head-mounted display, Ivan considered one of the founding fathers of spatial computing, and he had a very simple definition that I think really explains what's unique about spatial computing versus what we had before. And he basically says the image of an object changes in the same way the real object changes with similar motions of the head. In other words, computing imitates real life. And that's a concept I would bet my career on, and I think many of you had as well. Why? Because humans are biologically spatial, and so should computing. However, in 1968, same time that the spatial computing demo was presented, there was a fork in the road. That same year, the mother of all demos was presented, with the first key mouse, keyboard, and a 2D screen. And history decided that 2D computing should be the mainstream. And since then, a few super smart and extremely tenacious men and women did not wait for history to fix itself. They worked their butts off, mostly outside of the limelight, to advance XR technology. They were way ahead of their time. So in 2024, we decided it's finally time to recognize them. We created the XR Hall of Fame and inducted the first 101 pioneers to this Hall of Fame. These pioneers laid the foundation for everything we have today in XR. We all stand on the shoulders of these giants, so let's give them a big round of applause. But in fact, almost everyone in this room is a pioneer and stands to be inducted into the Hall of Fame in the coming years. So please keep doing what you're doing. I urge you all, by the way, to take a look at this website where you can look at the 101 pioneers, the first pioneers that were inducted. They believed that spatial computing is more natural than flat computing. They believed in that the inflection point would come, that one day more XR devices would be sold than computers or smartphones. They believed that one day XR would replace oxygen. I'm just kidding, just testing you. I believe it too. In fact, in 2013, I made this really simple but kind of controversial slide at the time, where you can see XR glasses at some point selling more than smartphones. How about you guys? Do you believe that this inflection point will come? If so, make some noise. All right. Okay, I was hoping for more, but that's pretty good. But the question is, does anyone dare to say when this will happen? So in that same presentation, I was foolish enough to make a prediction. And that was a complete screw up. 1 billion shipments by 2023? Oof, such a bad prediction. But I learned my lesson. Sometimes, when it comes to predicting when XR glasses will be mainstream, it's probably better to just shut up. But then 2024 came, And I had a really good feeling about everything that is happening in the industry. I think many of you also had that kind of good feeling, right? See a few nods. And that is with one exception. Bob Stone, an XR pioneer from the UK from 1987, and an XR Hall of Famer, he protested with his trademark rolling eyes emoji. Every year is the breakthrough. Every bloody year is the breakthrough year for XR. And you know, he's kind of right. But 2024 turned out to be a true breakthrough year for XR. Maybe not in revenue, but the pace of innovation has reached a new level of intensity. The XR race has exploded in full force. Hold on, what's that? I hear live coverage from the XR racetrack? Okay, let's hear it.
Hold on to your hats because we're off to the races. Apple rockets out of the gate with a bold move. They launch Solution Pro and boom, they're setting a brand new standard for mixed reality. The fans are on their feet, and it looks like Apple's got an early lead in this fast-paced XR showdown. But look out, here comes Meta, the reigning champion. They are about to sit back and let Apple run away with this one. Meta teases us with details of their upcoming Quest 3 headset, and the crowd goes wild. Apple's Vision Pro hits the track, sparking a frenzy among developers, but Meta's hot on their heels. This race is just getting started. But hang on, X-Real's making their move, bursting onto the scene with the X-Real Air Ultra 2. They're in this race to win. Wait a minute, Snap has just entered the race with a brand new version of Spectacles, adding in another thrilling twist to this high-stakes showdown. And here comes Meta again. They're pulling out all the stops. Meta storms back, launching the Quest 3S, which is officially the most affordable mixed reality headset on the track. And wait, there's more! Meta has just thrown down the gauntlet with a prototype of their Orion Inbar glasses. They're pulling ahead, ladies and gents, and Apple's in the rear view mirror. Could Meta be pushing Apple to rethink their play? Meanwhile, Sony's joining the party with a big swing toward the productivity crowd. They've got a new spatial mixed reality headset lined up, set to launch at year's end. But the race isn't slowing down, folks. HTC and Pico are stepping up. They're a little behind, but they're making up ground, pushing the limits with advanced mixed reality features. And what's this? Samsung is still stretching and warming up. They're cooking up something big with Qualcomm and Google, waiting for the perfect moment to jump into the action. They may be keeping a low profile, but don't count them out. When they enter the race, they'll bring the heat. It's a nail biter as we approach the final lap. Meta holds the lead. Apple's breathing down their neck, and HTC and Pico are neck and neck in the midfield. Sony's making their move, aiming for a like flash. Who's going to pull out the win? In the fast-paced world of XR, it's anyone's game, folks. Buckle up. It's going to be a photo finish.
Woo! Can you feel the intensity now? And this is great for the market, and it's great for consumers. And just to understand how fast things are moving, since this animation was created just 3 months ago, here's what happened. Samsung is no longer stretching and warming up. It announced its new fancy Muhan headset, and Google announced Android XR, which is a huge accelerator for the XR industry. Since then, also Meta announced the Area smart glasses for research, and at CES this January, 16 new smart glasses were launched, a mix of AI and AR glasses with or without displays, and even one with a clip-on. So people, let's stop for a second and appreciate what's already here. As someone who's been in it for decades, I can assure you, it's good enough. The hardware is good and widely available. It must get better, and it will get better, but it's good enough for plenty of use cases that we need today. XR content creation tools have matured, and with AI, building XR content and immersive experiences is a lot faster and easier. AI has eliminated a lot of the hard work. So the wait is over. XR is going mainstream. But is it just a feeling, just my feeling? How do you really know when a technology hits the mainstream? So here's your undeniable proof. A hog-wearing VR. Yes, that's from AWE last year. But seriously though, what signals do I see that give me the confidence to make this claim? So let me show you some of the stats on the market size, adoption, investments, how developers are looking at it, and I'll preview it to you. Let's get started. According to AWE's Home Analyst, Artillery Intelligence, XR is on track to reach $29 billion this year. It's becoming a giant industry. And it's growing fast. After AI, it's the fastest growing tech sector. On the hardware front, in the past 20 months, we've seen so many new headsets hit the market. And they're getting smaller, better, with improved mixed reality capabilities. You know, it's not yet fully reflected in unit sales, maybe just close to 7 million, but the install base is growing with over 33 million. And perhaps the most important signal from the market leader is that in the last quarter of 2024, Meta sold the most XR headsets ever. And also a new hot category is coming on the scene, a new breed of cool-looking AI and AR glasses with a surprising hit this year, with a big jump in sales. Just look at this jump. I'm not making this up. This is a legit report. All right, big tech investments are always a reliable indicator of how a product category is doing and how close it is to the mainstream. And as we saw in the race animation, big tech is locked up in a tight race. Each player is pushing the other to be better, to refocus on their strengths. They're all investing billions. We just heard that Meta is on track to invest $100 billion in XR. Well, except for Microsoft, which was conspicuously missing from that XR hardware race, right? They dropped their hardware ambitions, which I think many of you know. We're kind of hurting that HoloLens is not going to be there for long. But they seem to retrench on enterprise software, which is kind of their strength, so it makes sense. But will they make a comeback now that all the big boys are in? Or maybe they'll move on to the new shiny quantum chip object, Majorana. In any case, I think they're missing on the action. Okay, let's look at adoption. When it comes to adoption, mobile AR usage in the US has been growing steadily and is about 35% of the population. It's used for games, social navigation, for training on cosmetics. And where it gets really interesting is when you look at Gen Z, where almost 92% of all of them are now into shopping with AR. VR usage is not far behind at 25% of the US population and growing fast, especially where it matters, the next generation. 1 in 4 teenagers in the US plays in VR, and a record 13 million new users were added in 2024. Kids get it, and they will play VR their entire lives. On the enterprise front, almost every single Fortune 1000 company has adopted XR. Many of them are here, and most businesses, you know it, are beyond the initial stage of what is this technology good for? They're seeing proven ROI and are now looking at scaling it across the enterprise. Just look at the enterprises who attend Industrial Immersive. The fact that this event exists and is able to attract so many enterprises is a strong testament. So first of all, give it up for Sean and team for putting together this important event. Thank you, Sean and Rachel. Yes, XR in enterprise is a force to be reckoned with, and it translates into market share. Enterprise revenue is now 70% of the entire XR market. So of course, startups that are looking at short-term revenue would probably want to target the enterprise space. All right, next is public awareness and culture. Another critical measure of mainstream adoption. And we know that culture can make or break a product. We all remember it, right? An XR product that was crashed by a cultural backlash. All right, this means it's time for my segment, Debunking XR Myths, about Google Glass. The truth is that Google Glass wasn't a bad product. Consumers weren't ready for it, we know that, but it enjoyed a nice, not very long, but very productive life, delivering hands-free instructions in warehouses and factories all over the world. And it was just one out of a bunch of AR glasses that were in the market in 2013. All right, back to the present, Christmas 2024. Christmas is always a great checkpoint for what's the coolest gadget, right? Were people excited about XR? I mean, no one is expecting a ChatGPT under their tree, right? And based on these reactions, it feels a lot like it's hitting the mainstream. So what are some of the other XR highlights in culture this year?
A stand your ground case like you have never seen before.
The defense turning to virtual reality to show the judge what they really claim happened.
Yes, VR in the courtroom, the most conservative place of all. Although I know this was in Florida, so maybe, but don't discount it, you know? It's actually pretty real.
Virtual reality headset.
These people are coming into his space, right?
And he's backing up.
And he's backing
So as
up.
not to be injured like his wife.
For an immersive experience.
Yes, also the iconic queen of fitness from the 80s, Jane Fonda, is back to promote exercising in VR in 2025. And what XR product got a Super Bowl ad? Anyone? AI smart glasses, because XR is the killer app for AI, and AI is the killer app for XR.
Hey man, what's this?
This piece is called Comedian by Mauricio Catalan, valued at $6.2 million. Which one of you is real?
Which one of you is real?
Good question. I bet you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, XR is great for art. They say everything is bigger in Texas except for government, right? So, and the Congress tends to be kind of late to address new technologies, but still, its interest can be a powerful indicator. So a few months ago, I don't know if you've heard, the Congress introduced the United States Leadership in Immersive Technology Act to promote immersive tech. That's pretty big, right? Could change things, except 30 years ago, another bill was, to promote VR was presented to Congress, claiming virtual reality promises to revolutionize the way we use computers. It was introduced by Senator Albert Gore, seeing here literally building the internet. That is cool. And in that same congressional hearing, he went on saying, VR has the potential to change our lives in dozens of ways. Of course, he was wrong about that, because it will change our lives in many, way more ways than just 12 ways. But did this bill help advance and accelerate VR? Well, think about that. This was in 1991, so 1991, so probably not much. But if not the Congress, then let's turn our attention to the private sector investments. After a downturn in 2023 and in the first half of 2024, we're seeing investments in XR startups picking up again. This chart captures overall market activity, not just investments, also includes acquisitions and equity capital, but it's growing back, and that's what's important. And if you hear Andreessen Horowitz, probably the most influential VC in the world, they're bullish about XR. They see dozens of developers that are making over $10 million each on the stores with very small teams and almost no funding. And they claim it's among the most underrated markets today. They say the time is now. In fact, XR was featured in their latest report, Big Ideas in Tech in 2025, where they say increased developer activity, they're seeing increased developer activity on spatial computing platforms, and that it's especially promising in verticals that involve a lot of physical world data. Think about what that means. But for that reason, we're seeing thousands of iOS and Android developers flocking towards spatial computing. We see them joining hackathons all over the world. And the platforms, the Meta, Google, Apple are starting to compete on these developers, which is an amazing point in this evolution. And that number will only grow since, according to GDC, the Game Developer Conference industry survey, 35% of all game developers are building for XR, and that will start showing very soon. It's huge. So now what's your guess? Are they building for the Apple Vision Pro? Well, it's time for another segment of Debunking XR Myths. If you read the news, you would think Vision Pro is a failure. But reporters fail to understand that the Vision Pro is clearly intended for developers. So they build content for a completely new platform. And yeah, it's not selling like the iPhone yet, but there are currently 6 times more developers building for the Vision Pro than the iPhone had in its first year. And even more over that, the Vision Pro probably had a huge impact on the industry. I mean, just look. Can you tell the difference between these two headsets? Well, I fooled you. I switched the labels. This is the correct one. Yeah, so I think we're seeing that all indicators are pointing to the fact that XR is indeed going mainstream. But XR is really a spectrum of product categories. So which part of the XR, of XR are truly going mainstream? So I want to spend a minute to map the different device categories based on their progress from prototype, early adoption, niche, emerging popularity, and all the way to mainstream. And by the way, mainstream is typically defined as reaching over 25% of a certain target market. All right, first, mobile AR is pretty much available to anyone with a smartphone, so it's deep into the mainstream. VR headsets are now found under many Christmas trees at a reasonable, gift level price point, and they're used by a quarter of the US population. Next is smart glasses with no displays. So camera and AI are a different combination. They're emerging in popularity and are becoming a hit with consumers. Next is high fidelity mixed reality devices such as the Vision Pro or the Quest 3, the VRARA, and these are, and of course, the upcoming Samsung headset, and they're starting to move really fast to the right. Next is heads-up display glasses like Google Glass or RealWear, Vuzix. They have a strong yet niche position in enterprise. And then behind it is the more bulky, full-featured AR glasses like HoloLens or Magic Leap. They're actually taking a step back as they make room for the new fully featured AR glasses that are a lot smaller in size, like the Snap Spectacles, X-Real. And they're very promising and could move real fast towards the mainstream. And finally, have Meta Orion's prototype of a full-featured AR with a wide field of view that looks like regular glasses and give tremendous hope to this whole category. So we can see that XR is already in the mainstream, and other categories behind it are moving quickly to close in. Another big question around mainstream adoption is, how often do you use XR? So to ask kind of you guys if you're using it at least once a week, make some noise. All right. How about once a day? There you go. And when you use it, for how long do you use it? For an hour, not more than an hour or two, I hope, right? Yeah, I mean, it's not designed for more than that. And I think, our industry is obsessed with this elusive all-day face device. So, and until this obsession is met, everything else feels just meh, right? And I think it's definitely a worthy goalpost, but we need to recalibrate our expectations, because for now, I suggest a much more practical obsession. Still awesome, but it's wearing for a purpose. Just like, you know, sunglasses, you wear them to block the sun and look cool, right? Reading glasses, to read, or protective glasses when you do some work. Similarly with XR devices, we should think about it for a purpose. When you need a live translation, you put on AI glasses. You want to exercise or play, you put on a VR headset. Or a mixed reality if you want to learn a new skill. And this is a great phase. And it's right here, right now. XR is not the future, it's the present. And it's going mainstream. This is the year of the master builder, because now we need builders of all kinds to create content that is relevant to every single person on Earth. And case in point is this guy, Simon Rico, a designer. He's a huge fan of Formula One, and he had never built anything in XR. But when he saw the Vision Pro and its potential, he decided to build an experience. And now Formula One fans are saying that they're willing to buy this device $3,500 just for this experience. So yeah, this is the year of the builder, and I'm seeing a lot of founder energy in the market today. But we should never underestimate the impact of privacy concerns on this industry. That's one of the things that could slow it down. And I'll just leave you with this face. Just remember this face whenever you think about building the product or a solution for XR. Of course, now we have, you know, a new look, a new company name, and the coolest AR glasses. Which brings me to finally address the elephant in the room, AI. It's obviously sucking all the energy and investments from the room, and some of the hardware that we've seen so far has been brutally accepted. But I think that the combination of AI and XR is really critical. AI makes XR better, XR makes AI better. If you think of, you know, different interfaces like avatars, glasses, and robots, XR is the ideal interface for AI. I would go even and say that XR will save AI, because that's its interface into more real data to continue to train its models and make them smarter. And ask, you know, an AI to generate what would it look like when XR goes mainstream, and this is what it made. I don't think AI still understands exactly what XR is going to do to our world. But if you want to see it in action, I want to invite you all to the greatest XR show on Earth, where you can see XR going mainstream at AWE in the US in June in California this year. And for those of you who are in enterprise, that is adopting XR, we have, I'd like to offer you a free pass to this event. We have a very special program for you guys, enterprise VIPs. So just, you know, send me an email or find me afterwards. And that was the state of XR. Just remember, Houston, XR is already keeping our bodies strong and our spirits high in space and on Earth. And also, don't you mess with the metaverse, sort of. Thank you all, and have a great show.